Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Telling Tales. Here we tell atmospheric stories together through the medium of tabletop role-playing games. It's Monday night, which means we'll be playing Shadows of Esteren, a game by French company Studio Agate. And this is our fourth session running through the prologue pre-written adventures. That's all very exciting. So below the video, there are links to our Twitch if you're watching on YouTube, or YouTube if you're watching on Twitch, our social media, Twitter and Instagram, our Discord, which you can join and come and talk to us about all things tabletop role-playing games and otherwise, and our Patreon, which if you enjoy what any of us are doing on the channel, you can contribute to our further success and receive rewards in return, such as access to secret hidden bits of the Discord that other people don't have access to, where you get behind the scenes information and things like that, all the way up to Matt, who runs other games on the channel, running a game for you and your friends once a month. So that's all very exciting. Other things that we do on the channel, Wednesday nights are Simba Room, which is our longest running series. Thursdays are a World of Darkness system game sprawling thing that's going on. We've had 2 weeks of vampire, and then there's going to be werewolf, and then other ones, changeling and mage, and something else that I've forgotten. But they are all set on one night, the same night, and yeah, you should watch them. And then Matt can give you a description of what's actually happening and not what I just said. And then the first Saturday of every month, we have a different one-shot run by different people, different games and players. So this year we've had Alien, Troika, Morkborg, Fiasco, The Expanse, Honey Heist, The One Ring, Dungeon World, and Wanderhome and Dune. The next game, as voted for in a poll on the Discord and our social media, is going to be a sequel to the Alien game that Matt ran much earlier in the year, which I think is going to be on the first Saturday in December, but check on our socials to double check that date. Everybody's really excited about that. So let's kick into the recaps. So Inga, who plays Sophia the Varigal. Hi, Inga. Do you want to run us through? So the previous session had ended with the group hearing screams coming from the direction of the village. So do you want to give us some info on what that was when you got there?
Yeah, so hearing screams, we all had a run down to the village. The guys at the castle weren't so fussed, so they stayed behind, but we went down to check out what was going on. The rest of the village also didn't seem overly fussed. There's some funny looks coming from the house where it come from, but no one else was sort of, manically rushing to deal with it. So we knocked on the door and met Adelaine, whose husband is very sick. Sophia stayed outside with Adelaine while the others went in to have a look at Naylan, her husband. And we learned that Naylan's been sick for about a month, so quite a bit longer than the Lord MacLear, who we thought before was the first person to get ill. So definitely new kind of leads in terms of trying to investigate what's going on with the sickness. We find out that he's a miner who's been he works with his partner Octa in a mine up on the sort of top of the hill. So there's definitely something dodgy up that way from all the info we've kind of been getting. And yeah, so Naylan's very, very sick and seems very far gone. Adelaine's pretty convinced that he's not long for this world, but she hasn't been sick, so it definitely doesn't seem to be sort of person to person directly in that kind of way. We also had a sneaky break into Octa's home to check out what was going on there, and didn't really find anything new. He wasn't there. He's been missing for a little while, so we didn't get much more other than kind of finding more mining stuff in his home. But yeah, so definitely some new info about the sickness that we didn't previously have knowledge of, which was good to learn. And yeah, new things to explore again.
So following that, the group were heading upriver to investigate what they thought might be going on with the water and the illness. So let's bring on Steve. Hi, Steve.
Hi there.
Ragnall, the hunter. Tell us about when you left the village and where you ended up to begin with.
So, yes, we left the village. We were heading towards the mill, but Ragnall spotted a small shack just off the road by the river. The river kind of wound around the other side of it. We took a sneaky look around and discovered that there's a vegetable patch there, and the shack was occupied by the hermit we'd seen in the second episode, I think. The weird hermit that had cast all sorts of doom onto the town, calling them all sinners. So we looked around. We decided to approach. The hermit was seen us, I think, and invited us in for some stew, which none of us ate because he was just coughing and spluttering, and the stew was full of weird, misshapen, twisted, withered vegetables. It wasn't pleasant at all. Very awkward and uncomfortable situation. But we did manage to ask a few questions. And again, he reiterated that the villagers were being punished for things that, well, they were sinners. We asked about what they'd done, how they'd sinned, and he said that they'd sinned, that they'd done things the spirits didn't like, and we discovered then that spirits had been talking to him. And he'd covered the inside of the shack with all sorts of scribblings of esoteric writings that apparently he'd been documenting what the spirits had said to him. And at some point he kind of tired of our general questioning and went outside to water his vegetables with river water. And Sophia found out at that point that the spirits had only been talking to him for about a month or so. And there was some question as to, well, it was likely, I think, that the river water had somehow started these effects that he picked up on. I think that was about it. We made our excuses and then headed on to the mill, but stayed quite quiet for quite some distance afterwards, as he just stared at us. So we didn't want to. Yeah, we just crept off, rather unsettled.
Yeah. However, he didn't seem to be following you or doing anything untoward after you had left in your direction.
Not that we've seen.
No. And then you continued on your way to the mill. So let's bring Justin on, who plays Fulgur the Knight. Hi, Justin.
Hello. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good.
Good.
Yeah, so we headed to that mill, and we arrived and were greeted by Gota, a mill owner, and his family, which included his wife, his two children, and his grandchildren. And they were sick, so we kind of brought them up to speed with how the village had been doing, and kind of provided some healing herbs, and suggested probably wouldn't be contagious, so we should probably spend the night, and then maybe they should consider going back to the village so they can get help. Basically, and also just while we were sharing stories, they had seen two figures walking back towards Melbourne maybe a few weeks ago at dusk, which scared the dogs because they were screaming figures. Probably nothing. And Talisian, a magentist or magientist, if you want to say, they've been the cronies have been cronies. Have been lurking by the village, just up to just, whatever. Again, probably unrelated.
Probably.
All of these things probably just unrelated.
And then I think the group were going to bed. Sam, unfortunately, was unable to join us last week, but Sam is here this week.
Hello.
Playing Theon, the Demorthan Mystic. I think that Theon actually was responsible for finding out some information last week from Naylan, which is good.
Good old Theon. He can't help be useful even when I'm not present to direct.
So I am presuming, although I don't want to tell you what your character has been doing, I presume that you have been keeping an eye on Sophia's wound throughout the day in order for her to regain another couple of hit points.
Yeah, I have been. I'm presuming it doesn't take more like healing stuff to do that. It's just keeping an eye on it, isn't it? So,
yeah.
yes,
So
I definitely
yeah, Inga, if you want to give two hit points back for Sophia for your night's rest and your sort of dressings, I suppose.
How are you doing on health now?
I'm in the what's it called? The good section. So
Nice.
yeah, still got a
Good,
little
good.
bit more thing I can do, but not looking too bad. No penalties at this point.
Cool. So you have, apart from the sound of sort of coughing and maybe people shuffling around to get themselves, drinks or medicine during the night, you have a relatively undisturbed night's sleep. So you've been put in a separate room that they sort of cleared out for you. So you're just mostly on bedrolls in there. There's one bed. And
we'd figured out that they had been using melted snow water or rainwater up until a few days ago.
Yeah,
wasn't it? And then they'd had the river water, and that's when they got sick.
Yeah.
Well, having looked at the family, are they all sick, Jonny? Given that Theon has had a kind of try to help them now.
Yes, at varying degrees.
Okay.
So yeah, they. If you want to make a roll on something that I will tell you in a second.
Yeah, it's good.
Just one of those secret rolls.
Maybe just perception, actually.
Yeah, sure. D10 plus reason plus perception bonus. Cool. No, that's pretty good. 14.
So those who it actually seems like the kids may be slightly more ill than the adults. And what you did see over the course of the evening is that the adults were drinking sort of ale and stuff over the course of the evening, whereas the kids will only be drinking things that are basically at least from water, if not pure water.
Okay, I think
so. It may be that they're sort of slightly diluting the bad water with alcohol.
As I'm going around and kind of inspecting people and just kind of trying to provide what little help I can, I think Theon will probably just be repeatedly saying to different people the value of making sure to not drink the river water and drink the snow melt from now on, trying to make sure that everyone's got the message.
Yeah.
Did we test the river water already, or were we going to do that in the morning?
Oh, we were going to
in the morning, yeah.
So yeah, I guess we'd also look at doing that.
There is not much in the way of food being put on. There's basically some bread left out, which you, because they're all sort of a bit worse for wear, between only drinking alcohol and not being very well.
I feel like if they offer us anything, Theon will probably deliberately refuse it, given that they're ill, and just say, we brought our own food, you keep this for yourselves.
We probably picked up some stuff from the...
yeah, we did also... we did get some supplies, didn't we, from
yeah, we got
the castle.
Yeah. If anything,
Yes,
if anything we can spare, maybe without saying anything, just leave more than was left out.
Yeah, if it looks like they need it.
Miracle.
And then
Cool.
I guess you carry on heading up the way already.
Yeah. Is there anything else that happens in the morning then?
Not really. They kind of, check that you slept okay. And like I said, offer a small amount of food, but there's nothing. They're just kind of going about their day as ill people, really.
Fionn will
looking
definitely
after the kids and
yeah. Fionn will definitely pop down to the river to quickly boil a small pot of water to check to see if we've still got it, because I think we're upstream on the same river here, aren't we? So
yeah. While you're down there, actually, do you want to make a perception roll?
okay. Would I get keen eyesight for this one?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
It's not so good. 9.
Okay. Yeah. Do you want to do your I'm happy for you to not roll actually to do the water.
Now we know what we're looking for, yeah.
You end up with more of the residue as you do your thing on the pot.
Fionn is not surprised and will just kind of briefly report it back to everyone else. I think we've made sure we've got like the one pot which is for this purpose, which none of us is touching for anything else now. So
yeah, I mean, as you're getting higher, there's more and more snow. So there's plenty of opportunity to just melt snow if you need to drink or refill any water skins or anything.
Yeah. Can we? This was all described as it was being like perhaps the peak of the mountain or towards the peak of the mountain where the mine is and where we think there might be something going on that's affecting this at this point. Can we see the peak while we're down in the river valley here, or is it somewhere off around a bend or through the trees or something?
You're in kind of a range, so you can see a few different tops. You're not really sure exactly which might be where you're supposed to be headed.
Okay.
But obviously, if you follow the river, you would get to whatever, unless it splits, you would get to whatever point you were aiming for.
I mean, so are we planning on going to the mine next or going to this hunting ground?
The mine was meant to be up right at the top, right? So I think the hunting ground was supposed to be somewhere between where we are now and, well, we're not sure if it'll be exactly like en route next to the river. But they did say they were by the river. We're not sure if it's
by the river.
Not sure if it's definitely the same river though, but we know it's vaguely in this sort of direction. But that wasn't right up at the very top of the mountain, like the mines. Is that right, Jonny?
Yeah, it wasn't. No, it wasn't right up at the top.
So I think we may pass that the hunting grounds sooner, but at the very least we can kind of keep testing the river as we go.
Yeah.
But we're ultimately en route to the mines.
I think one thing that Fionn would also like to do, just out of his own curiosity, is if we're kind of passing like a range, if you see what I mean. So that means there's probably multiple kind of smaller tributaries coming in. If at some point we cross like a smaller tributary, I'd just get some water from that and test that to see if it seems like all the water coming off the mountains around here, or if it's just kind of the main river, basically. So I'll do the same thing there at some point as well.
Cool. Okay, so you reach a point where the river winds kind of through a valley and well, sort of between two kind of peak areas. And this you are pretty certain will be the area that was described to you as kind of the hunting ground that they were in. So you're in kind of an expanse of fir trees. The snow on the ground is lighter here because obviously some of it's caught in the branches, and sort of some of the leaves have fallen and are on the floor here. So the sound is kind of deadened as you're in here because the snow above and below kind of completely no reverberation. So it's quite eerie as you're walking through this wooded area. Are you just following the river along?
I think that makes sense.
Unless there's anything else to see, I suppose, yeah.
I would be looking around, trying to remain alert and listening and watching for any movement.
You might presume that if you're wanting to test some water here, you could do it probably at any point now. You're not sure exactly where they were in here, so
yeah. I presume since the river's nearby, it doesn't matter really where I do that. So I'll just kind of, while other people are maybe looking at the hunting ground, I'll go and do my usual, make a quick fire and do the test again.
It takes you a little while to start a fire because a lot of the stuff that you're using is kind of damp here.
Make me make a roll for that.
No, that's fine. You managed to get one going, and sort of maybe 10 minutes or something from you kind of stopping to do this or 15, and then you've got your residue on there. It is the same here.
Yeah.
So as far as you've got, it seems to be that this stuff is flowing down the length of the river, basically.
How's Morag doing?
I think Morag's probably almost a little bored by this journey. There hasn't been any particularly interesting things. There's not much to eat around here. She's more been hopping just through the tops of the trees and on my shoulder, goring occasionally.
Is there much sign of other wildlife around? Like, normal stuff that you would expect, like, some birds in the trees or whatever, but also like, any tracks in the snow or any sign that this is particularly good hunting ground, like whatever else you would look for, if you're a hunter and expecting to find wildlife about, or does it look?
If you're looking around for stuff, if you're anybody who's looking around for stuff, you want to make a perception roll. And in fact, Sam, can you make a perception roll as well?
I would love to, but my cat is currently sitting on top of my dice box. So I might go for a digital roller for once.
I got a 10.
I got an 8. Not great.
That's very low for Ragnall's perception.
Yeah. Bad dice. Go away. Preemptively remove that one.
I have an image of you having a little incinerator. The dice are just gone forever.
My friend has an actual dice jail, bars around the outside that she puts the bad dice into.
I got a 12 total.
I didn't roll because Fulga doesn't.
Fulga wouldn't be looking. Yeah,
he's not looking around. He's always ready.
Yeah. Sophia spots a couple of rabbits, and also you think out of the corner of your eye at one point you may have seen a deer kind of flip between a couple of trees. So it certainly doesn't seem like there isn't anything here for people to go after if they want.
And none of them are rapidly attacking us, so also good. So far, at least.
Have to keep an eye on those rabbits.
I've seen hares.
It's rabbitsies.
Are you pushing on?
I think so.
Unless there's anything else to discover here,
I mean, we could do some hunting, but I think really there's more important things to be doing.
I think if Fulga says that, Fionn just gives you a look and goes, "You know how this all began?
Drinking the water and bad humors."
I imagine Ragnall sort of getting a look of excitement as the word hunting is mentioned, and then realizes that it's a no-go.
I think maybe just as we're walking generally, rather than kind of stopping for it, but just generally as we're keeping an eye on the surroundings. I know this isn't the area near Derg where we've gone for the herbs, but if there are any other kind of herbs that I recognize to be useful medicinally, just keep a vague eye out for stuff like that as we go, but not making a a massive like hunting effort for them. But
Can I?
Okay. Oh, go on, Sam.
Yeah, I was going to say, I feel like Fionn would probably do that a lot as well, but I haven't said it yet, so it's Inga's first.
Okay.
I imagine we would both be looking at it a lot quite naturally, but it's just
even if Sophia sort of mentioned it, then So, do you want to again make perception rolls to see if you spot any around?
These mushrooms look good.
It's another 10. Rolling
I got a 10 too.
Wow.
10 doesn't really do anything though, does it?
It can be okay. Depends on how it is.
15 total.
Oh, as in you rolled a 10.
Oh, you rolled a 10.
Yeah, I rolled a 10.
Roll again, and if you get another 10, it's a critical success.
Right. I did.
That's really unlikely.
Wow.
Sophia coming back like this with herbs.
Can I have the website for that dice roller, please?
Thank you, Google.
Calculator.
Okay. So you find a bunch of useful herbs, or what you think that from looking at what Fionn had got and what had been, you think that these are probably, and if you present them to Fionn as a thing, Fionn notices that some of them don't look quite right.
Is it
some of them are perfect. Some of them look maybe a little sort of bleached or a slightly distorted shape to what you would expect for that kind of herb.
Does it at all remind me of the vegetables at the stew?
Yeah.
Okay, if that happens and it reminds me of that, then I think I basically swat the herbs out of Sophia's hand.
Charming.
And then point to one of the distorted looking ones on the floor and go, it's affected them too.
Well, I think we should avoid going whatever direction it was that you found those, Sophia.
Were they growing by the river?
Things.
Yes, was it by the river?
Yeah, well, I was question for Jonny, was it by the river? But to Fulga, I think quite the opposite. We should be going in the direction that we're finding more of these strange things, surely, if we're looking for the source.
She's right.
So the ones that were worse were growing nearer to the river. If you'd kind of meandered away and found some sort of, a couple of trees over or whatever, they were the ones that were okay. And the ones growing nearer the river were the ones that, didn't look so great.
I think Fionn will just say, it's whatever this is, it's poisoning everything here.
So what you find as you carry on upstream is that the sort of strangeness of things growing at the edges of the river, like obviously you're aware of it now, so you can see it pretty much straight away, but it's becoming more and more pronounced as you head further up the river. And after sort of another hour or so, you also spot a dead rabbit right near the river, who you may guess had drunk from the river before.
Okay.
Yeah.
Signs just get worse and worse.
I suppose that's what we want to see, as Sophia says. I suppose while we're walking as well, Fionn might ask the rest of the group, because I don't think he knows anything about them. Does anyone know anything about these mad giantists?
Yeah, I was going to ask out of character earlier on before we started whether I don't imagine I've who would have bumped into them
Yeah,
generally?
exactly. I wouldn't.
What
have,
sort
I know.
of yeah?
I mean, I might have seen some in the big city, the big
I was
smoke.
going to say Olga may have run into them. Sophia may have run into them in cities and stuff while traveling around, potentially. I'm happy either way. If you think that you have no knowledge of them, that's fine. Or if you think that you may have bumped into them while you're somewhere, I'm also happy with that.
They're generally very impressive types, full of ideas and improvements, changes to the way we do things.
Nothing like this, though, I'm guessing.
Not sure what they're doing out somewhere like here.
It seems remarkably unlikely that would be nothing to do with this, I must admit, given the timing.
All very suspicious.
Too coincidental. We haven't seen, and like so far there's been no real sign of any other people either, has there? Like as well as the seeing some signs of dead rabbits and things. We haven't seen any signs of people. No.
As you break out of the wooded area, and the sound of the world kind of floods back into your ears. After a moment of adjustment from the deadened sound to normality, you all notice a strange humming noise coming from upstream.
Okay,
Is
it
like
anything?
a person humming?
No, it's not. It's not a person humming. It's a sort of.
Like a drone, a constant drone.
Yeah.
Is it something that any of us may have heard of? Like, would we have heard something similar before? Like, again, potentially in bigger cities or anything. But...
It reminds me of beehives that you get in the valleys, in the low valleys. But who would have a beehive? Who would have an apiary up here
At this time of year.
at this time of year in this economy?
Localized entirely within.
Valley?
I am unsure whether any of you would have heard anything like this. Again, maybe, sort of big city noises, potentially. But even then, I'm unsure whether you would have been aware of what they were, even if you heard it.
Well, regardless, I'll be trying to sort of locate, moving around and trying to locate the sound of the source of the sound.
Yeah. I think Fionn will think it's a sufficiently suspicious noise that he will have kind of drawn his bow and also maybe have just sent Morag into the trees to see if she could see what's going on. Not that she'll necessarily be able to express anything useful.
I think Sophia might slightly separate from the group to sort of take a slightly wider circle around and try and get on sort of stealth mode to quietly make her way forward if we seem to be heading that direction.
Okay. Are you trying to scout out ahead of everyone else, do you think?
It sounds like everybody else is kind of moving ahead as well, so I probably won't have a chance to like pull forward because if you're trying to be stealthy, you're not particularly speedy. Presumably, I'm not like racing ahead. So, but yeah, at least maybe just be less seen than the others.
Yeah. Do you want to make a stealthy roll for Sophia?
Oh, my real dice are just as friendly as the other dice. It's a 9 on that. So a total of 12, 15.
Nice. Okay. So you all carry on moving forwards, and you round kind of a corner, and you discover a bizarre sight. You see a man dressed in a leather outfit working on a big machine with various bellows, tubes, and gears. And nearby are a couple of sort of warrior-looking types. And there are also there is a cart and a pair of, I don't know how this word is pronounced actually, cairneeds, which are basically like kind of beast of burden in the Esteren world. And I have an image.
Yeah, they're quite seem like pretty common in the setting.
Can I share this image?
They're like kind of like weird camel horse creaturey things or something, aren't they? Or am I misremembering?
Yes, they are. Yeah.
Boom.
Is this from the... Oh, hello. Here we go. Maybe. Oh,
fantastic.
There we are. That's not that great. It's sharing the whole thing. But yes, there you are. So this is what you see on rounding the corner.
So there's a strange contraption in the river.
Yeah.
Probably unrelated. Maybe they're testing for the water like we are.
Everything we're learning is totally unrelated.
Fion will let one of the other two approach first and kind of hang back a bit.
Oh, Fulger's more than happy to wander over if anyone else wants to go over too.
You can't see Sophia, but she's hanging back.
Right.
I'll be, going along with you. Maybe a couple of paces behind, something like that.
Great. Well, then I'm kind of like really jollily, nonchalantly going to wander up, like, oh, hello, greetings.
The man in the river quickly kind of knocks a lever, and the humming sound dies out with a splutter. And the two sort of warrior types put their hands on their swords.
Oh, no need for that. Are you Telesian? Is it Magentist?
The guy in the suit kind of lifts his mask up and says, "No, Telesian is my master. I am Hervin. Oh. I am his apprentice."
Hervin, we're just travelling through the valley. We've heard already so much about you and your master's work. Pray tell, is he far from here? We have some news from the town that we wish to share. Me and my friend, pointing to Ragnar, me and my friend.
I'm not really sure where he is at the moment. He has asked me to help to test his machinery, and he is off elsewhere with important tasks.
Certainly. Phew, that thing makes such a noise. Have you trapped a hive of bees inside it? What's going on with it?
No, of course not.
These things
anyway,
tend to be a bit beyond me.
I'm sorry, I must continue with my work, he says, and flips the machine back on.
No problem. Tell me. In the city we have many wonderful things. I'm going to just keep talking at him until he turns it back off or responds.
He, if anything, is quite obviously purposefully ignoring you.
I could keep going for a long time. Can I? I'm going to keep throwing questions about this machine looks beautiful. What does it do? That's my kind of thing. Until I'm physically removed, in which case I might start a fight. That's basically.
Can
what
you
I do.
Can you make a relation roll?
I think I could do that. I've rolled a 6, and I have 4 in relation and 4 in empathy, so that goes up to 14.
I'd like to say, until this point, Fionn wasn't sure about Fulgur. Now he loves Fulgur. Like, this is amazing.
14, total.
Yeah, he continues to ignore you.
I think that's Jonny rude.
Right. Ragnall's just going to walk over and pull a lever. Just turn the
we have
machine.
important news.
If you get too close, one of the in fact, both of the armed men kind of step into your path.
Okay.
I got. Are you at all meeting my eyes? Is Ragnar at all meeting Fulgur's eye?
Oh yeah, I'll be looking at you.
Then there's just a nod of like we got like.
Hang on, is that okay? That's a go ahead nod.
That's like a go ahead.
Right.
We have important news to share. You're interrupting our important news sharing business.
Yeah, I'll say, yeah.
What I will say, actually, Steve, can you make a perception roll as you're walking up towards the machine?
Sure.
If your intention was to head to the machine and do something.
We've got to warn them about the illness, and we can't do that while the machine is on. It's too loud.
Absolutely.
They can't hear us.
I get, if it's sight or hearing, I get a 10 in total. Roll the 4 plus 3.
Okay.
That's good as well.
Yeah, that's not gonna do it. So
Bad dice.
yes, you've now got these 2 armed men stood in your way.
Have they drawn weapons?
They haven't drawn weapons, but their hands are on their weapons.
Okay.
They'll be grateful when we've turned it off and told them about the thing. So I think we should continue.
Unless I'm saying that if Ragnar had drawn a weapon, they would have drawn their weapons. So I'm saying they haven't, based on
Right. I would probably.
I try to note as well that Fulgur has like a walking staff that they walk with, but it is like a an iron shod staff. So
I don't think they would consider that a weapon until somebody becomes aggressive.
Always the mistake of guards.
So yeah, Ragnar will just sort of.
You wouldn't let them intimidate you, Ragnar, would you?
No. I'm
2 guards only.
Is that Fulgur saying that while Ragnar is...
I don't think
whispering over the shoulder.
Hear me, but surely.
Yeah, I'd be saying something like, why do you ignore Knight Fulgur? He has important.
It's important news.
He has important news. This is.
One of the armed men, if you say that, says, "You can tell us the news."
I can hardly talk to you over the sound of this blaring contraption. Turn it off now, or will we forced to turn it off for you so that we can tell you the news?
The news is that your machine is poisoning the village.
They don't react. I feel like I'm asking for a million perception rolls, but can anybody who's paying attention to this whole tableau make a perception roll?
Is it a perception roll that could also be a relation roll in terms of a social perception roll?
No, not in this instance.
In that case, I will roll a perception roll.
I'm a little distance away.
Another 10.
I'm a little distance away, but I rolled a 15 in total.
Okay.
I rolled a 10 in total.
I rolled a second 10.
Wow.
Okay.
Insane.
Was anyone
I
ever
just
as
have
perceptive?
different dice. I've got like a little bundle of dice here now. This is mad.
You must
Sorry,
keep
Wow.
them forever.
Can you give
I
some
rolled
to
a
Steve?
Okay.
13.
So 15
So,
total.
what was?
I
Sorry,
got
Steve, you got 13.
15.
Okay. And Justin?
10.
Okay.
10.
So Theon notices that when Ragnar says that the machine is poisoning the river, Herven kind of gives a small shake of his head while he's moving around doing his things on the machine. Sophia notices that, and also notices that the machine is spotted with a yellowish, amberish residue.
You could read
Cool.
that either way. That's interesting.
Coincidence, most
Yeah,
likely.
coincidence.
But still,
Um,
None of this
And,
stops the kind of situation, does it?
the the armed man who had spoken previously said, "We'll pass it on."
I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna move towards turning this machine off, and if that causes an altercation, that's what's going to happen.
Okay. The guy who had been doing the speaking, who is not the one who was stood directly in front of Ragnar, steps to the side to stand in your way. And at about that time, Herven turns the machine off. And says, "Let's get this on the cart."
Referring to the machine, is that?
Yeah. And the two armed men kind of stand and stare at you two to figure out if you're going to continue.
I think,
Pressing.
yeah. I think I haven't noticed the flex of the orange, so I think we're just going to press. You know, there have been people sick in the village, in the village below, and at the miller's house. Have any of you or your the rest of the cronies, have any of them been sick? Has your master been sick?
You need to tell us what this machine does.
Let's get the machine on the cart.
This is all very suspicious behaviour. Even Fulger, a man of incredibly plain mind, could catch this. You know, the cogs are whirring. Is there any chance this thing could be linked to those illnesses? How long has it been in the river?
Sorry,
owe
are
us
you
some
asking?
answers.
Are you
I'm
asking him?
Herven those questions.
Yeah. He continues kind of flipping switches, presumably powering this thing down, and one of the armed men says, "We came here this morning."
And Theon and Sophia, are you kind of out of sight, or are you just hanging back?
I'm definitely like within view of you, but I'm standing back to the extent that if they weren't paying attention, they might not notice me, sort of thing.
Sophia's
prob-
deliberately trying to stay out of sight.
I kind of. Oh, I don't know. I'm very unsure.
It's up to you guys. You're the ones
Have
doing
you-
the talking.
Have you had this machine in the river before? Or has your master? People are sick. People are dying.
If you're not careful, if people know about this, then it could be that the blame falls upon you undeservedly. Look, we have a Demorthan with us, who is very knowledgeable of the illness. If you let him inspect your equipment,
Hervan
take
walks
some
off
samples.
towards the cart.
Oh, no, you don't walk away from Fulgur. That's just a thing you don't do. You know, I'm just gonna grab him by the shoulder. Like he's being completely unhelpful. I'm gonna try and spin him round. Keep talking to him.
Well, you'd have to get past the armed man.
Oh, if he's behind them. Well, then I'm just going to shout at him. I'm just going to shout. There'll be an angry mob at your door if you're not careful. This is how this whole thing can be avoided. This guy,
Jonny, the beasts
Yes.
of burden, can they travel faster than we could walk with that cart? From the look of the cart,
No.
with the machine on it. So
we can just follow them and really
wherever
annoy
they go.
them.
I can lambast all day.
I was basically wondering if there's any hurry right now, but we're not going to stop leaving them until we get some answer. That's fine.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable. Ragnar, I don't think they're going to take. I think this is calls for the next level up. A strongly worded letter to this to Lessian.
Well, we have the names.
He's just going to cause trouble for himself.
Well, we'll be reporting this to the Lord of the
highest
the lady of
authorities.
the. Yes. Why?
Anyway.
Why are you so? Why do you try to hide this? Why can't you talk to us honestly and openly?
He's
Still ignoring us.
completely ignoring you and just continuing with his task.
We'll have words with your master, and we'll see what he says about your rude behaviour. Is this how you treat travellers?
Do you guys have
Ask
the
me
impression
simple
Jonny
questions.
wants you to kill these people?
I know.
I think Steve and Justin make relation rolls for me, please.
Yeah,
I rolled a 17.
I rolled a 10.
Well, I rolled a 9 plus 8.
Okay. Fulgur notices some sort of looks between Hervan and the armed men, which give you the impression that Hervan is not in charge here, and that these armed men are maybe here to keep an eye on Hervan on Talassian's behalf. So maybe his not speaking to you is because he's concerned he will get in trouble if he does. He may be this uncooperative anyway.
Yeah.
You don't know. However, there are some mitigating circumstances here, you think, which are that
Is there anything
potentially afraid for his well-being.
Is there? Could you describe? Is there a particular thing that makes me think this? Like, is he perhaps?
Yeah. So for example, at a point when you said something sort of emotionally evocative to him, or when Ragnar did, he maybe a little bit of a glance out of the corner of his eye as if he wanted to respond. Yes.
Yeah. So that wasn't a kind of dismissive shaking of the head. It was a kind of exasperated shaking of the head.
Yeah. So yeah, you get that impression basically that he is sort of at the whims of somebody else.
In which case, I mean, I kind of just want to kind of give like a Ragnar, like, come on, shall we? It's only two of them.
There's only two of us. I mean, Ragnar will probably be up for it. Well, he says, depending on how stout are these fellows. I mean, they can't be worse than a bear.
Relatively.
Oh, Ragnar, I'm fairly sure I heard one of them insulting you and your tribe just a second ago under his breath.
Oh God.
Said your mother looked like a candidate or whatever those things are called. He said that thing smells worse than you, or you smell worse than it. One of the two. I think he was talking to the Canadid.
Oh my god. And Fion's not around to hold me back. Oh god. Do I reckon. Okay, go on. I'll. Are they walking away? So there's chat putting.
So basically, he's returned with the cart to the river, and it's sort of ready to be loaded up. You don't think that he could drag it on there himself. However,
I think
if you two are still sort of squared up to these guys, they're not going to turn their backs on you to go.
I think what I would say
menial
is,
work.
I think at this point, like, I think I'm just going to say, you know, we're going to take some readings from this instrument for your own sake, and you aren't going to stop us from doing it.
You spot one of their hands grip around the sword hilt kind of tightens.
Can I try to do a kind of a final talk down of like you know, we can just, with this whole thing can end without any, you know, with any bloodshed type relation, calm down thing. Go.
You can. Yep.
I don't want it to succeed, but
Yeah.
You know, I can't say I didn't want them. I only rolled a 3, so that's only 11. So
Wow.
Johnny, I've been kind of staying within earshot, but kind of vaguely trying to stay out of view. Do you think they would have? Do you think I would have known that they clocked me by this point, given that I'm not being stealthy? But you know, depends how much they're paying attention.
You think that they're probably aware of your presence.
Cool.
You know, there's a thing that they would probably at the second that they thought there might be any kind of altercation, they've probably become very aware of their surroundings.
Yeah.
So if you're not being stealthy, they've probably clocked
In that
you.
case, if I think they've at all clocked me, I'm deliberately standing there holding my bow, staring at them, rather than trying to stay out of vision. While Olga does that.
I'm not gonna reach my weapon because like these you know, no. So but yeah, I kind of call over Fion. Fion, come take some samples from this contraption.
Okay. I will stay a little distance away from you four and walk around to go to the machine.
We're happy to place myself between Fion and these thugs.
Yeah. I'll go at least 10 feet distant from the group, so they have to move away from these two to come to me.
They are going to basically back up towards the cart to give themselves a smaller area to defend.
I go round to the other side of the cart from Fulgur and around.
So
they have to
the machine's on the cart,
them.
right?
Yeah. Well, it's kind of at the front of the cart.
It's not on the cart yet, but it's near the cart yet.
I guess I'll go around to the other side of the machine, but yeah, they're pretty close to me then. If I'm as close to it as them, are they physically trying to get between me and it then?
Yeah, they're basically trying to stop you getting to either Herven or the machine.
Okay. I will probably continue at the machine unless they look like they're going to draw their weapons. If they're just going to shove me away from it, then I'll let them just shove me away from it.
You will get one shove back, yeah.
As soon as they touch Fion, I'm going to fucking swing.
Yeah.
Exactly what I was waiting
100%.
for.
Okay.
With a weapon or fists? Or
I'm going to hit them with my stuff.
Okay.
Okay. Let's do. So, what is your? I've forgotten the word again.
Movement, is it, or
No,
speed?
Your combat attitude, fighting attitude.
This was like a 20-minute build-up for this fight of just awkward,
we tried to be
passive-aggressive.
We tried to be nice. I think I would go with offensive. Why not?
Okay, so what's that going to make your speed?
7.
Okay. Steve, are you also fighting?
Yes, I
Not
might
you,
not be.
is Ragnar fighting?
Yes. Might not be going for an axe just yet. Might throw a punch.
Okay.
But yeah, I'll be standard attitude and speed 9.
Is Fion also?
I mean, the situation where Fion decides this is Fulgur has swung. Has Fulgur swung at the one that was trying to push me? Because that would change my decision.
I think so, based on
Is that
Yeah.
right, Justin?
the defensive nature of Fulgur's response.
Okay,
It
given
feels
that
like it was...
given that seems to kind of provide a help to me, then yes, I'm going to go. I think I'll go standard, and I'll draw my dagger.
Okay. So what's that make your speed?
It won't change with the dagger; it's just damage or attack. So 6.
Okay.
Quite slow.
Yeah, I'm not really a fighter.
To be fair, I mean, if you stab this guy, then we have very few legs to stand on. I mean, if I can cuss him, you won't be able to tell the difference in attitude.
I'm not necessarily planning on stabbing him. It's just this is me getting my dagger out to try and be like, don't try and hit me. Depends what happens.
Yeah, that's very reasonable.
I still have no
Is
idea how spiky
Sophia
combat is.
staying hidden?
If she sees a fight kicking off, she'll get ready for a fight. Wherever I am, does it seem likely that if I could get in, like run in and attack, or is it likely to be a sort of 2-round sort of thing? Before
I would say
far away
that you
enough?
will skip the first round.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll go defensive then.
Okay.
So probably.
What's that
running
make
in.
your speed?
Speed is 5.
Okay. So I'm going to give Justin basically a surprise round, and then we'll go back to the top of the order. Since you're basically using a non-weapon as far as they're concerned,
Cool.
you've taken them by surprise with your response, I think. So give us an attack on this first.
So I just roll close combat.
Yeah. Yeah, attack rating, yeah, plus a d10.
Terrible. Absolutely terrible. Attack rating. So the attack rating is my attack, which is 10, which is plus, and then I rolled a 2, make 12, and I add 9 to it to make 21. Does that sound right? Or do I not?
Hang on.
Sorry. Oh no, do I roll at all, or do I not roll?
Yeah, you roll.
Yeah, you
Sorry.
do roll. So it's attack rating and then plus a d10. So you got 2 on the d10. And then
Yeah.
did you say your attack rating's a 10?
Well, yeah. So my kind of my attack rating is a 10. Do I
Cool.
roll close combat at all? Or?
Your close combat's
Like,
in the
do I-
attack rating, I think.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's in you're right. It's in the
yeah.
attack rating. You're right. Yeah. That's why.
Yep, so you've
So
got a
only
12. That's fine. Their defense is 10, so you've still done them 2 damage.
2 damage indeed.
So I picture this as you basically clocking him from behind after he's pushed.
Yeah, I mean,
Fion, I don't know if that's accurate, but
it's not a gentleman. I'm gonna.
Yeah.
I mean, it's only when Sam said you attacked the one that I attacked me, right? I went, sure. I didn't just go for the one that wasn't expecting anything. That'd be rude.
Yeah, so basically, he shoves Fion, and then pretty instantaneously gets a sharp stick to to the back.
I like the idea that you would have
so-
gone for the other one. The guy's just standing there having a smoking break, and you'd go for that guy.
That was in my mind. That was my first reaction, but I think it makes more sense the other way around. Okay, so yeah.
So Steve is next.
Right. Well, I'm going to throw a right cross and just clock the other one
Okay.
when I see this kicking off. So it's, yes, unarmed, just a punch. But
Yeah.
and I realise I don't know what
sorry.
unarmed-
Actually, I didn't include weapon damage for Fulgur's attack. Have you got a damage rating for that?
Yeah, it's 2. So I thought that's
Cool,
what
okay.
you're.
No, so it does. It's like the margin
Difference.
of success
Yeah.
plus the weapon damage. So
Cool.
that's my fault. So you've actually done 4 damage there.
Great.
Sorry, go on, Steve. For Ragnall.
Yeah, so I will have been throwing a punch. I realise this is awkward because I haven't got unarmed damage written down.
I'll quickly try and look it up.
I think it's pretty. I think if you do the roll, then it will be whatever
Yeah,
it is for your normal offensive thing minus a little bit.
And I think it would just be no extra damage and standard close combat. I think, but
Okay. Well, my standard fighting score is 10. I rolled a 7, so that makes 17.
see if I can find
Nice.
That seems pretty. That seems like a lot.
It's a pretty good
I hope
roll,
it is.
even without any additional. Even if there isn't any additional
I'll have a look as well. Yeah.
damage.
It would be good to know how much like the punch is.
Let me just search to see if I can find unarmed.
In fact, if Sam is looking, I will just make a note. So you rolled 17. Okay, so you're doing at least 7 damage.
I could have punched
With
the
a
bear.
punch. Yeah. So yeah, again, this guy gets caught pretty much because he's facing you. So isn't necessarily aware of what's gone on behind him, or it's only happened sort of a split second before, and then all of a sudden he's been lamped. So he kind of staggers back with sort of his back to the cart after you've hit him with that. And they are now going to attack. So he's going to come back for you. What is your defense, Steve?
In
Ragnar?
standard fighting attitude, it's 11 is the...
Okay. So I rolled a 15 total,
Okay.
and I have 2 damage, so that's 17, so you're going to take 6 damage.
Oh, okay.
Slashes
I
you
have-
with
right,
his
I have
sword.
1 armor.
Oh, you've got... Yeah, so 5.
Right.
Yeah.
And that comes off the health conditions. Oh, dear.
Yeah.
Right. I'm now just okay.
Do you not have any armor to soak any of it?
Oh, no, I did that 1. That is with armor.
1
yeah.
point. Yeah. To be honest, if I was slashed with a sword and still considered myself okay, I'd probably be quite happy with it. The other guy is, I think, going to turn and go for Fulgur, drawing his sword as well. And I've rolled the exact same. So 15. What's your defense? for
It's
Fulgur?
10.
Okay, so plus 2, 17. So that'll do you 7 damage minus any armor that you have.
Cool. Do you think? Yeah. Okay, that's fine. So that's 4 damage.
Cool. Oh yeah, you've got some relatively beefy armor, haven't you? For
Yeah.
Fulgur? Did you manage to find anything about unarmed, Sam?
No, it's only mentioned once in the entire book. With close combat, and there is a discipline unarmed, but it doesn't really say anything about it. It just says it includes grappling and using gauntlets, but that's literally
Right.
it. So nothing helpful there. And in the damage section, there's nothing specifically about having a weapon or not. So I would assume it's just a standard attack with no.
So
damage.
yeah, yeah.
That's how.
Yeah.
I think people say the damage, or like forums seem to suggest the damage might be 0. That it's just no. That's your basic.
Yeah.
Great.
Cool.
So yeah.
So Justin's attack, Fulgur's attack.
Yeah, I'm just gonna hit him with a stick again. That's the plan.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think I have time to draw a sword, so I rolled an 8, which plus my 10 was it? That's 18.
Yeah. Yes, that is going to connect. And then, did you say that's 2 damage your weapon? Is that right?
It is 2 damage.
So 20 minus 10 is 10. Yeah,
Correct.
that's a pretty big hit. I figure the head for you to have done that much damage with a stick.
I could change stances, can't I, as well?
You can, yes.
Yes.
At the start of our
Can I
round.
have changed my stance to... No. Ignore that. I was just like, why? With my creativity, it's so low. I like the different stances are basically all the same. So
Theon.
So they've drawn weapons.
Yes.
Neither of them are paying attention to me. What's the Magiantist assistant doing?
Kind of cowering.
Okay, he's not trying to get
not
away.
Like,
Yeah.
but he's kind of he's moved himself to sort of against the cart to be.
Given that there's no one looking at me, I think I have a quick look at him to make sure he's not likely to, one, suddenly sprint away or suddenly jump on someone. If neither of those things are true, I'll try and stab the guy who's turned around who pushed me in the back.
nice.
Do you want to make a quick perception roll for your looking at?
Yeah, I think that's the more
Looking at
important
Irvin.
thing. So, since my stat will probably not work. 12.
Okay. He does have in his hand a small knife.
Okay.
However, you're not particularly convinced that he's going to run and get somebody with it.
Mhm.
You figure he's backed himself against the cart and it's kind of a last line of defense thing for him.
I mean, to be fair, two strangers have just attacked his guards, whether he wants the guards there or not. You know?
Yeah. Guards / enforcers. So
Yeah, but
okay.
there's no guarantee that Ragnar and Fulgur are any nicer people to be under the capture of than the two guards.
The main thing, as long as I'm pretty confident he's not going to run off, then the stab is the priority.
Great.
Cool.
I
Give us a roll.
I definitely won't succeed with a 1.
Oh,
Good.
roll
Maybe
again.
good.
Nah, 6.
Okay. You definitely don't succeed. What do you add on? What's your attack
5.
rating? Oh, okay.
No,
Yeah, you
no,
don't.
4. Sorry, 4 in total.
Okay.
Not a fighter.
Yeah, no. That's fine. So yeah, I think you probably go to swing at a reasonably the same time as sort of Fulgur hits him, and it all gets kind of a swirl of melee, and you don't really manage to connect.
I imagine Theon is a bit, while he's very capable at some things, melee is something he's really not capable at. I kind of imagine him like, a 12-year-old in a rugby match when they've never played before, when they just don't want to commit. And they just see it and they'll kind of pretend to be involved. That's exactly what Theon does. He makes it look like he's really going for a good stab, but he's actually not. His heart's not in it. He'd rather be further away shooting things from a distance.
Yeah.
I mean, you could just throw a stone.
Inga, oh no, you've skipped this round, but you'll be in the next one. So, does anybody want to change their fighting attitude for the next round at all?
I think I'll go defensive, having been hit.
Given that it looks like no one's interested in me, I'll go offensive.
I'm going to stay, because there's just no point.
Neither of those change speed, do they?
No.
I don't think.
No, so I'm still 9.
Cool.
Sphere, you could go quick.
Great. Yeah, so Ragnar is first again.
Okay. So I've been slashed with a sword. I'm not particularly happy about that. No, there's drawn blood. So I think at this point I will. How long does it take to ready a weapon? Can I grab my axe, my Francisca axe that I have?
I think you can grab an axe. Yeah,
Cool.
I think that's fine.
Then I will attack the one that slashed at me with my axe.
Great.
It'll be defensive plus a roll. So that's a 12. 8 plus 4.
Yep, that'll hit. And then
Steady on.
what's your damage?
The axe is 2, damage of 2.
Okay. So that's hitting for 4 total. Yeah. You get a good swing at the side, but you actually kind of goes sort of round his back a little, so the axe kind of nicks him on the back, but he gets winded essentially by the handle of the axe as well. And he's going to swing at you again, and that's gone entirely off the table.
Oh, they
Well,
really
that doesn't count.
My enormous new desk that I was really proud of earlier. The dice
not
has
Making
gone
up for those big rolls.
absolutely flying the 15 feet it is to the edge of the desk. That's a bad roll for you, Steve. I'm sorry. So that's a 19 that I've rolled, which I know hits, and then plus the 2 damage is 21. So you take off your defensive
which was 13. Oh dear, that's not good.
So 8, and then your other 1 for your armor, so 7 damage.
Oh dear. Yeah,
You must be not looking into too good a shape right now.
I am now bad.
You're bad?
Yes.
From okay to bad in one fell swoop. And the other is going to swing for Fulgur again. And that is 6 plus 11, 17.
That would hit indeed.
And then
10. So 7.
And then plus
Another
the
4,
2 for
basically.
damage is 19.
Yeah. So I soak 3 of that. 6.
Yeah.
Which also leaves me. If I'm the very bottom end of okay.
You have to have a dot in a thing for you to be in that thing.
So with this -1, is that a -1 on all rolls then? Right. Cool.
Combat's quite spicy.
Yeah.
I'm
You can get bad real quick.
Can we get the bear back?
We need little Sophia to come save us.
So next up is Justin Fulgur.
I am going to heave my shield too, so I've got a bit more protective power, and then give him a good whack. Because it doesn't actually say that the staff is two-handed, so I'm going to take it as not two-handed.
I think if you use it as a walking staff, it's relatively swingable.
So I rolled a 13.
Yeah, that'll
plus
hit.
So then it's +2 is 15.
Yeah, and you hit them again in the side of the head, and you hear a crunch, and he kind of slumps to the floor like a
Nice
jelly person.
Cool. Yep.
He was a jelly person all along.
Theon.
Given that guy's just collapsed right in front of me, I will, if I can, draw my bow and take a shot, but I might not be able to do both. What do you think, Jonny? It doesn't really have explicit rules for how long it takes to do these things, does it? So
No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
I think it's probably all right.
Okay.
For the sake of cool.
For the sake of Fulgur.
Fulgur's okay. It's Ragnar who's bad.
Ragnar's a bit.
Sorry, for the sake of Ragnar.
Oh, I probably yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's not good.
Don't shoot me.
9. That's probably not enough.
Afraid not. Probably directly between the guy and Ragnar, I think.
There's a bit of from my end.
Spin around, sort of. Yeah.
Sophia.
So, the Giantess guy hasn't made any other moves yet, really.
He's kind of watching what's going on and sort of moving himself around the cart to be as protected and far away from what's going on as possible, essentially.
Okay. Well, I don't think he's going to be able to leg it without us. Yeah. Okay. Can I? It won't have changed my speed. Can I switch to offensive to take a sort of running swing with my staff at the guy, making Ragnar look bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bad sheep. Okie doke. I'm not very good. Hopefully a running start will help me. So this is attack, right? Yeah. 10 total.
That is just enough. So what's your damage of your weapon?
2.
Okay, so just 2 damage. Cool. Yeah, you hit him and kind of you see him kind of shoot you a dirty look out of the corner of his eye. But returns the majority of his attention to Ragnall, who is, a similar size to him. And back to the top of the order, so it's Ragnall's turn.
Okay.
You muted Justin.
You muted Justin.
I'm going to change to quick, so that would make my speed 8. Would that change anything?
I will put your speed to 8.
I'm still quicker than you.
Oh, yeah. I have very little capacity to change anything about my character.
Is anybody else changing any fighting attitude?
No. I'll never hit if I do anything but offensive.
I'll change to defensive, I think.
Okay.
Again, won't change speed.
So yeah, Ragnall.
I might try and fall back behind Folger, I think, if I can. How does moving? Can I just take a? I presume I can't hit then move.
Yeah, I think you could. You could sort of. Yeah, I think that's fine.
Okay.
Hit and can't take a few steps back up because there's not a huge gap between you and Folger, so I think you could.
Yeah, I don't want to take another hit. I'm looking pretty bad.
Reasonable.
So okay, I will be in defensive still.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be 8 plus 3 minus 2. So
not enough, I'm afraid.
9.
It's 9, isn't it?
yeah, that's fair.
But you managed to back up a little, so he's probably going to have to go through Folger to get to you. And it's Folger's turn because he's moved to be faster than the guy.
Nice.
That's good. Well, then I'm going to whack him with my staff.
Yep.
And really hope for a really good roll. I rolled a 1.
Oh.
Okay,
And a 4.
roll again.
You had
Okay.
to say it.
But I have -1
But-
because I'm okay, so it's 0 plus 9.
Nope.
So that
No,
does
no,
not hit. Does not
Well, then I
hit.
clang off his armor.
What
a clanger!
And he's going to now try and hit you.
Fair. Reasonable.
That is 18 I've rolled. Plus the 2 damage is 20. So
Jonny, can we have your dice?
you take
10.
off your...
Can we have your
10,
stats?
10 defense, and then I've got 4 in armor, so I take...
So 6 damage.
Oh, I'm in critical.
Oh, God.
Jeez.
So it turns out we maybe shouldn't have, decided to take these 2 on with the 4 of us.
I just think we got unlucky.
Theon's turn.
Okay. Any hope? I mean, there's not a lot of hope.
I'm hoping
Oh,
for TPK,
maybe.
to be honest.
Maybe. 13.
That hits.
That'll do.
Cool. Oh wait,
that with an arrow?
I'm forgetting my plus bonus for my good vision. 14. Oh well. Plus and then 2 damage.
Cool. Is that what are you using here? A knife?
This is now my bow because I did switch to.
Oh,
that
okay.
previously.
Cool. Yes, you did. Sorry. Yeah, you slot an arrow directly into the center of this guy's back. So Folger and Ragnall just hear a whoosh, and then this guy just falls solidly face forward into the snow.
Could have done that earlier, Theon, could you?
I'll show you a dirty look.
I'll be sort of nodding appreciatively.
Bleeding from the head.
Basically, instantly, once this guy goes down, while you're probably all still sort of recovering your faculties,
Mm.
Hervan kind of stands to full height behind the cart and says, I'm terribly sorry if I came across as rude earlier. I was told not to speak to anybody about what was happening, but well, now they're gone. I suppose it doesn't matter anymore. Look, I'm just a trainee Magiantist, and Talassian is very well known, but he's been really horrible towards me recently, and I'm worried that he's become a victim of the Nimheil, and that it's not just physically but psychologically dangerous. But he's made it very clear to me that his health, my health, anybody else's health shouldn't matter in the pursuit of knowledge. And well, I was worried that him or them, that they might kill me if I didn't do what they told me to.
Wait, you're saying you're actually involved in this? This machine, has it been hurting people?
Talassian might not care about people's health, but I rather do. You two need some patching up.
I think while this conversation is going on, Fionn is looking at wounds right at the same time, effectively.
I haven't made this
talking,
explicit,
and I'm like patching up your face, sort of.
but I think Fulgo almost exclusively refers to Fionn as Herdmaster, because I think that in my head that's how it works.
Mm-hmm. But one thing I wanted to check, Jonny, the two guards, are they dead?
Yes.
Okay. In that case, I'll make a point to briefly check as I pass over them, and if they're both just dead, I will attend to Fulga, then Ragnall. Because Fulga looked more sorry, Ragnall.
Do you want to make first aid rolls for each?
Yep.
Would my soap help?
Person.
You and your soap.
I should be giving you a +1 to relation rolls with nobility for your wonderful perfumed big city soap.
So the first aid, I can use traditional medicine, can't I? As my
yes.
bonus. Cool.
Yeah.
Ridiculous roll. Oh. So I rolled a 3, but in total I get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I get 14 in total with a roll of 3.
That's not bad.
It's my thing.
Is on a first aid, but I think it's
as long as you don't run the 1 and give me 5 damage.
I mean, if you can't use traditional medicine for first aid, what can you use it for? I'm sorry.
I'm pretty low on health as it goes.
Oh yeah, 14 or more.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
So you got a 14, is that right?
Yep.
Yeah. So you restore a hit point then in that case.
Cool.
Boom.
And I will do the same to Ragnar as well.
Don't
Yeah,
Nice.
I beat 14 with that as well.
Right.
Cool.
Thank you.
So again, I think what I said last time was that that can count towards your adequate care for the day. So when we get to nighttime, you'll restore you 2 hit points.
Gonna need to stock up on my herbs though. I'm out of
Then I'll be bad.
Hervan is basically just blabbering on now that these 2 men are dead.
Yeah, I think Sophia will try and sort of like get a little closer and sort of gesture for him to maybe sit down, just like in a sort of kindly way, but also making sure he's not about to leg it somewhere,
He certainly doesn't look like he's going to leg it anywhere.
Yeah, I'll let him keep babbling on, but just sort of gesture and maybe offer a bit hunk of bread or something that just kind of very much is we're settling in now. We're going to look after you kind of vibe, without really saying anything or interrupting him.
Yeah, he's continuing on, and he's saying, well, there was he's doing his research, and well, he thinks that there might be a fossil flux poisoning, but he didn't want to warn the people of Melwan. He wanted to check that it was correct by analyzing the water, and then, well, this machine is supposed to filter the water to collect the flux while purifying the water in the river. And Talassian doesn't like the people in the village, and he said that we shouldn't explain the ins and outs to them anyway, because if we fixed it, it wouldn't matter. He's trying to find the source of the flux, because while this collection is good, obviously having the whole thing is better for his. I've said too much, haven't I?
I think I will cut
just
in
be-
while he's saying this and be like, so you are not the source of it, you're trying to find the source of it.
Yes, and with this machine, we're trying to stop it from affecting anybody.
Could you not have said?
I was under
Says
strict
Ragnar.
instructions not to, and I was afraid for my life.
They
Fair.
died for that cost. Was
He
it
has a
worth
fair
it?
point. Like a photo chokes out, spitting blood.
I guess I will gesture at the mercenaries on the ground and say, very loyal mercenaries to die for that simple bit of information.
I imagine that they,
I think Ragnar will sort of pad over and check them for cash, because I reckon they've been.
Those
well
look
paid.
like nice shiny swords, Ragnar.
Does he
Yeah,
know
I
anything about
reckon-
the... Go on.
I reckon you can probably get a couple of coins from them.
A knight
I'll
has
come up
to
with the
eat.
exact amounts later, because I can't remember
Sure,
what the.
yeah.
Does he know anything about the mercenaries specifically? When Fionn asked that about them?
No, they're just hired mercenaries. Obviously the Magiantists as a general thing don't have specific guards, so it's only if they're, they feel that they might need some, that they might hire somebody.
Did Talassian
They're
hire
from-
them before or after he discovered this poisoning?
Oh, I think they have. I think he's worked with these men before. They're from Reich, so. But yes, I think that he's dealt with them before. He is, well. He wasn't a bad man. He mostly thinks that Magiants can help people.
When did this change?
I believe that he has fallen foul of the flux poisoning, and I think that it does not only affect people physically, but also psychologically in some cases.
We have seen this, although not quite in such a way. If he is not ill, I'm surprised. And you have been well. Have you drunk from the river?
No, but obviously once one of the mercenaries fell ill, we quite quickly figured out that it may be best to avoid the river water.
I understand.
And
I
then
understand.
Talassian tested it by boiling the water, and there was fossil flux in the water. So
I understand that you were told not to tell anyone in the village this, but people have died because you did what you were told. I believe that was a grave mistake on your part. You should have disobeyed that order.
But if I had, I may have been killed.
And how many
And
may
then
have
I
died
wouldn't be
because you
here to
made the
give you this
mistake?
information now.
Your
So
health
you're
is...
saying this orange stuff is flux? Fossil flux?
Yes, fossil flux. Yes.
Have any of us heard of that before?
Probably not.
Scrolls down to the section of character sheet that has fossil flux written on it.
Fossil flux.
And he do you think it's relative? Is Fionn dressed like a Demorphin?
I did say that we had a Demorphin with us.
Yeah.
Oh, you did, yes.
I've been
okay,
treating
in
wounds,
that
so that's
case,
probably pretty logical.
he says, I think that the Demorthan may call it Nimheil.
And I'm guessing that means something to me.
Yeah, so in the old tongue, it means poison.
That's bad.
And can you make me actually like a Demorthan Mysteries roll to see how much you might know about it?
Mm-hmm. Ooh, nice. 18.
Oh, okay. So
Did your thesis on Nimhal poisoning?
as far as the Demorthan are concerned, not only does it induce various illnesses, but it has the quite sinister characteristic of making the nature spirits flee. So you're essentially unable to contact them, and not only that, there may be areas where they basically refuse to be.
Okay. Given that they're trying to harvest it, am I aware from the Demorthan perspective of it having any useful properties? Or is it just poisonous and bad?
Yeah, I don't think the Demorthan would ever or have ever used it or are aware of it being used for a positive thing. Going to it like, I think because you got a good roll. So as far as the Demorthan are concerned, the world is fed by energy coming from the life tree called Koran Rin. Yeah, as far as the Demorthan are concerned, Nimheil is a corrupted form of this energy.
Okay, I think
so. Yeah,
I think Fionn will just kind of mutter under his breath Nimheil, and then look at this. I can't remember his name. This apprentice, with kind of a frown on his face, and then say, "Why would you ever want such a thing?"
Well, it's it has great energetic properties.
All it does is
even
destroy.
More than. No. It can be used to power machines for long periods
this is
of
all
time.
very academic.
Can I gesture to a dead? Can I gesture to like dead plants and things by the riverbank while Fulger's doing that?
Yes, but this obviously something has gone wrong here. This has gone into the water. This is not what how it would be used.
Young Hervan, do you think this machine, if put back in the water, could continue to filter it? Would it work? Does it work?
Fionn, can we test it? Can we test the water? Is there a way of collecting pure output water from this machine and testing that, like boiling it in the same way, or is it just a partial filter sort of thing?
So you'll see from the image that it's not filling the whole riverbed.
Yeah.
So what you could try and do is sort of collect directly at the output. And then I suppose even if there was a small amount of the stuff in it, you would think that it's potentially just.
I think Fionn will probably take his word for it, broadly speaking, given what we've kind of encountered now, and just say instead, well, it's clear that if this machine is removing Nimheil from the water, it's not going to remove it all. You said you've been here a day?
Well, just a few hours, yes.
A few hours. Well, perhaps, as you say, it is best to put it back either way. Do what it can.
I think we ought to test it still, in any case. But sorry, I'm still a little confused. Did Talassian come here because he knew this flux Nimheil stuff was here, or he discovered it once he was already here? I'm confused.
Yes. How did he find out about it?
He came here to study the soils of the region, and he even obtained a royal edict to conduct the research from Lord Maclear, and yes, this is a discovery that has happened while he was here. I've only been here a few months. I was sent from I was at Baldrock University, and I've been sent here to work with Talassian to learn from him. And he was a very kind and knowledgeable master to begin with until this has happened.
So it's an accident finding this stuff. Do you believe that?
Yes, I believe so.
But
And
why-
was
why-
it found? Was it found a month ago? The last phase of the moon.
Yes, I think that sounds about right.
And where?
Does it have anything to do with the mine?
I'm not sure. I haven't been told that.
Why has
I-
it been released? Why is it now everywhere? If a month ago everything was fine, then you discover it, why is it now in the rivers and the water, and what happened? How did it get out?
We don't know. He's searching for the source, so we're not sure.
But you discovered it a month ago and now suddenly everybody's getting sick. The discovery has to be linked to its release.
Perhaps it was the miners that did it. We don't know that it was these Magiantists.
It's all too coincidental. Has Talassian been working with miners at all? If he's been exploring the soil, has he been working with people who dig into the ground?
Do you know where he is at this point?
I don't know now. Perhaps I should return with the machine and explain that that we were besieged by brigands on the road, perhaps. And if you return to Melwan, then I can I can send word when I'm aware of Talassian's whereabouts. And yes, perhaps that is sensible.
The man needs to be cured or stopped. He's gone mad.
I don't think we're in a position to do much right at this moment, Ragnall says, cradling a...
I agree. What time of day is it, Jonny, by now?
You are late morning, I think, if you left at a reasonable time this morning.
I think Fionn was like, you must rest for a while, both of you. Perhaps we can set out later, perhaps tomorrow, but for now, your wounds are bad. Take a moment. And then I'll look at Hervard?
Yeah, Hervin, yeah.
And say, I don't think you should go anywhere. Stay with us for now. And I'll look at everyone else's for agreement, but presumably that's what we all think.
I mean, I
He
would
says,
disagree, but I don't think Fulger's in a position to really do that.
But if I don't return, then more will be sent to look for me.
He's expecting you to return, is he? When?
By the end of the day. This is only a few hours expedition.
I guess I'll look at the rest of the group at that then.
Perhaps it might be a good idea. Anything that... well, the people are now avoiding the river water anyway, so whether the river is filtered by this machine or not, it matters not.
Well, there are more beyond the river flows far beyond Melwan. We don't know how long. We don't know how many are affected.
But we need to solve the problem at its source. If we don't filter if this machine can't filter the river water entirely, then
We should continue on.
yeah.
But whether we're in a state to go and deal with a mad magentist, I don't know.
Well, not at this moment. Hervin, if you're able to get us information about what's going on and what Talassian is up to, then perhaps we can help. But we need to know more about what he's planning, what he's trying, and and how this stuff has affected him, I think.
I can try and get information from him when he returns, but he's become incredibly paranoid and quite cruel.
Where are you based? Where would you be going back to?
Up towards the mines.
Do you feel safe going back?
I don't feel safe not going back.
Would it be safe for us to go back with you or not?
I don't think so.
Well, then perhaps it's best to go back to the village.
This seems to me really a question of, can we trust you? You have opened up to us now that these men are dead, which suggests some level of truth to your story that you were being held against your will by them. But can you offer us any more evidence that you will not simply return to your master and all of what you've told us is to get us to let you go?
Why don't you take my knife?
No. I think we should trust the man. He's really neither here nor there. Either we kill him in cold blood or we take him at his word. I'm inclined to do the second.
We have Hervan's story, and we can tell the people in the village. So...
And give you some recovery time.
I am also in agreement. I don't think heading up the mountain would be best for us today, perhaps even tomorrow.
You know what's curious? Oh, sorry. Did Fionn share the info about the about things like the Nimhile like making the spirits disappear?
No,
I wouldn't know that, would I?
Not yet. He's just said Nimhile.
Then I have no comment.
That you heard. Can you make it up by yourself?
Yes, if you could help me get the machine onto the cart, I would be most appreciative.
I guess I can.
Yeah, sure.
Attempt to help in my injured state.
It's got a dropped back, so it's just a case of basically shoving it up.
Yeah.
Sorry, are there more of these mercenaries back where you're going? Oh, how many of you are there? Oh.
There are a good few more mercenaries. That's why I think it's best that I return and give them a story about brigands. Otherwise,
how many Magiantists and everything? Is it?
Oh, only Talassian and I.
Oh, right. Right. And he had a royal edict from the Lord.
Yes.
He didn't say anything about that.
Well, it won't be forefront in the minds, I guess. But now we can. Now we have names. We can go back and ask about it.
All right. I'm inclined to agree with Volker.
What did I say?
Olga's that badly wounded.
What did I say?
We should trust this man.
Oh yeah.
Then there is nothing more we can do, I suppose. You should go.
So are we? So if we let him off, are we then heading back to the village? That's the plan.
I'm going to make you rest and have some food for an hour or two, and then maybe after that we can make our way back slowly. Fionn will not let you leave otherwise.
Yeah.
Volga's preference would be to push on to the mine.
Fionn will try to physically stop you.
Oh yeah, I don't think it would take too much persuading.
Yeah,
I think Sophia might just sort of, again, once Heaven sort of sets off, stealthily just sort of track him for, I mean, probably no more than like an hour, half an hour, an hour. just to sort of
While
keep
we're
an eye on
gonna
the
sit
direction
around.
that he's
Yeah,
actually going in.
I'll make sure we
leaving
stay
beyond to
for-
look after these guys before kind of heading back, meeting back up with them to sort of report back on where he's gone.
Excuse me. Yeah, he's basically heading straight up the river from you for as far as you follow him, basically.
Trust but verify. Happily verified.
While I'm keeping an eye on these guys, could I go a little distance away from the river and see if I can find any herbs to collect as well? Because I've used the last of my healing herbs on them.
Sure. Give me either perception or natural environment, whichever is better for you. I'm happy with.
Sure.
Sophia can also leave some healing. Sophia has some bandages and some healing poultices.
Ah, good. Bandage was the specific thing I was out of, so that's good.
Yeah. Not loads. Probably enough for one, but yeah.
Yeah, that was a great roll. I'll roll my 10 again, shall I? Oh, a 9, not quite. 19.
Cool. Yeah. Let's say I think you can basically. What are you looking for specifically? Are there like
Specifically antiseptic and anti-inflammatory herbs. I can't get bandages, so.
Yeah, you can find probably an amount that would allow you to sort everybody out with those twice.
Cool.
I would say.
Yeah, we're gonna have to plan for combat a little more if we if we keep trying to do it.
It's harsh.
Yeah.
So are you just heading back to the village?
Yeah, I guess a fairly slow pace, so probably most of the afternoon will be taken.
Yeah. It's as you get back to the village, it's sort of getting towards full darkness. Sort of evening meal time when you return, shambling in.
Oh yeah, on the way I would have brought up the Nimhile as well. That's true. So
I was going to say Sophia would have asked about that on the way as well. If you stay or avoid the area,
whatever he was speaking to, it was not the spirits.
Just as a clarification, that was forest spirit. Was it? There was a particular type of spirit it drove away, wasn't it? Is that correct?
It's the nature spirits.
Nature spirits.
The nature spirits, and that was basically exactly the sort of thing that he would think he was talking
Are
about.
there other types of spirits? Is that something? Remains unseen. Interesting.
it might just be a symptom of madness, of course, but there's something strange about that man.
Well, the bear was affected by rage. Perhaps who's to say that creatures are affected in the same way?
Clearly,
if this Talassian is, yeah. But we should let names.
Waylon.
Thank you. Yes.
I'm planning to head to her immediately upon arrival. Nimhile means poison in the old tongue.
Of course.
I guess I won't say that to Ragnar because Ragnar will know that. I'll say that to the other two.
Very fitting.
And I think on your arrival back at the village is a good place to leave it for this week.
Yeah, makes sense.
As night falls.
Cool.
Well, Fulgur and Ragnar came out of that quite badly.
You know, that's. I mean, I'm kind of like, we killed the people for no real reason, but you know, meh.
No, it was useful. We wouldn't have got any of that information if we didn't kill them.
Oh
Come
yeah,
on.
that's true.
Useful
But
information.
I do feel a bit like, are we the baddies?
Well, I was going to. Yeah, are there laws against murder?
I love how long it took us to get to that fight. There was like 20 solid minutes.
No one wanted to swing the first punch, you know.
I love Fulgur just being very, very passive aggressively continuing, but not taking the first swing. Oh, So funny.
I even tried to roll Ragnar up, wouldn't have it.
I was at the point of like, if they'd been walking away with the cart, I would have dragged one back and punched. But yeah, it's just the combat is really harsh.
It is, but I think I don't know. I mean, if I had my sword out, maybe a small difference.
Thanks everybody for watching. If anybody has any questions or comments, pop them in the chat, and we'll put them up on screen and discuss.
Nice
That's what
recovery.
I was going for.
Perfect.
Discreen and discuss. Yes. And just quickly, links to our social media and Discord and Patreon and YouTube are below this video, or Twitch if you're watching on YouTube. This is Monday nights, Shadows of Esteren. Wednesday nights are Simbaroom. Thursday nights are currently Vampire, and then will be Werewolf and Mage and Changeling, and the other one that I've forgotten again. Wraith. That's the one. Yes. It's a really cool thing that is going on there. And
seems appropriate. The Wraith is the one you forget, doesn't it? Kind of thematic.
Yeah. Yeah, look out for a definitive date for the Alien sequel. I think it's like the 4th of December, but I'm not 100% sure that it is that date. I think it is.
I think it'll be the 4th or the 5th. Probably the
5th. Also, a hello to Sauerkraut Kid, first time chatting. Nice to have you. Let's put some of these up. He didn't seem to be following you. Words to fear. And Nightbite said, "Yep, right there with it. All seems quiet." A lot of Fulgur love in the chat this evening.
Tonight I fell in love with Fulgur.
I think what was my favorite.
Your continual loud talking over the machine. You were just prepared to continue to talk.
I mean, oh dear. I like when Fulgur says the opposite of what's supposed to happen. Like, more disgusting vegetables. Better avoid that. Could be dangerous.
Clearly, this machine has
broken
nothing
vegetables.
to do with it whatsoever.
Could be coincidence.
Probably coincidence.
Cool.
I think it's
I
going
think
to end up
that's
being
it.
yeah, go on. I just think it's going to be a huge plot. I mean, that's Fulgur's armor against the unseen horrors. Just it's fine.
It's just a coincidence we're being attacked by some horrid monstrosity.
If you're totally oblivious to the horror, is it even scary?
Well, yeah.
Just always facing the other way.
Probably be dead by that point. Let's be honest.
Well, yeah, exactly. You know what I'm really curious about this in this, Jonny? Like, if we hadn't discovered the weird poison thing for a little bit longer, and we just had a scene where we explicitly drank some of the water, would we just get ill? Would that be part of the thing for our? That would be interesting, wouldn't it? Anyway,
I was wondering about the stew.
Yeah, because we did have a stew when we first arrived. Maybe because it's cooked, it's okay, you know, boiled up.
I was close to giving it a bite, but we managed to sort of talk a little bit and get him to wander off outside quick enough that it didn't really come to it. But if it had been awkward enough, like we're just sitting there and he was like, "Go on, eat up," I would have had like a required bite.
Britishness kills us again.
Yeah.
If we'd have fought that old man, he'd have flipping destroyed us. He'd have destroyed us.
One punch.
Oh god.
Right, cool.
We've got one follow on. Let's just do that.
Oh yeah. Sauerkraut Kid, thank you everyone, and thank you for welcoming me on Discord. You are very welcome for being welcome. Yeah. Yeah. Happy to have you aboard. Cool. So we will catch you next Monday for more Shadows of Esteren. Hopefully there'll be no more combat before everybody gets healed.
Yeah.
Can't trust the word the leader says.
Of whether there's combat or not.
It's been like 5 days since Sophia got attacked by a bear, and she's nearly better or something.
And she was just okay, wasn't she? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I hit the end of okay, didn't quite spill over into bad.
Oh god, it's going to take so long.
Where's Folger at now? Didn't you say you were critical?
I'm still on critical.
Yikes.
Yeah, could be worse. I think I need to talk to Jonny about how the rules work. Like, maybe I'm even dead.
You're going to retcon Folger die next session.
I don't think I'm dead, but I think there's all these kinds of things which I'll talk
By the way,
to Jonny about
Justin's not
afterwards.
coming back now.
Folger is so unaware that he's dead. Catches
It's
up with him.
okay if anybody dies. I'm gonna make up a character sheet for Urgor the Hermit that you will take on.
No,
if your
God damn
character
it.
is out of
Gosh.
the game.
We can start next session with Justin wandering in as some random new guy, being like, "What's that dead body you're carrying?"
It's like after the pilot episode, they've just changed the characters around. Folger wasn't
It
well
was
received.
Folger. Got to kill him off.
Wow.
Right, cool. Thanks, everybody. We will catch you all next week for more Poison in Melwan. Thanks for watching. See y'all later.